With the A52, it's very clear who Samsung is targeting. This smartphone has a ton of flagship features at a very great price tag. Chances are, if you're looking at this device, you probably want a flagship phone, but you don't want to pay flagship prices. After rocking the A52 for over a month now, I can finally share my full thoughts on this device, and I have a lot of good things to say about it. My name is Victor Kabanga. Welcome to my review on the Samsung Galaxy A52 5G. So in terms of the design of this phone, it does look like a flagship device, but it definitely doesn't feel like it. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that, but it is using this plastic body. You have this glossy frame and this matte finish back that looks pretty clean. However, I have to say it does attract a ton of finger smudges. You think that it does have this matte finish and you're not gonna get that much fingerprints or finger smudges, but that's not the case here. It does attract a ton. In fact, it can be a little bit annoying, so I can see a lot of people slapping cases on this particular device. I love how this feels on the hand. It's probably one of the more comfortable devices that I've used recently, since it does have more roundier sides. It's not using those rectangular sharp sides. So I do appreciate how this phone feels on the hand. One thing that I really do like in terms of the design side of things is that camera bump on the back. I love how it seamlessly blends in with the overall back, and it looks pretty clean in my opinion. Now, taking a look around the device, on the bottom you do have a speaker grill, and this does sound pretty good. It does have a stereo speaker system here. It's pretty good for watching content or even listening to music. Don't get me wrong, I'd rather connect this to my wireless earphones, but if I don't have them on hand, then this definitely does get the job done. You also find the USB-C charging port. This is compatible with quick charging. You can get this device from 0 to 50 in just about 30 minutes, which is pretty impressive. And you'll also find a headphone jack, and you guys already know I'm gonna say something about this. I always appreciate when cell phone manufacturers include headphone jacks in their affordable devices, because not everyone nowadays has wireless earphones. Moving on to the top of this device, there is a SIM card tray, and there is also a micro SD card slot in there, so you are able to expand the storage on this device. Onto the right-hand side, this is where you have the volume rockers alongside the power button. As you guys know, I don't like this type of setup here. I prefer having the volume rockers and the power button on two different sides of the device. So I would have liked to see maybe the volume rockers on the left-hand side and the power button on the right-hand side, but clearly that's not the case with this device. So I did get used to it, just like I've had to get used to it with any other device that I've complained about in the past that does have this kind of a setup. But yeah, I just had to mention that because that's my personal preference. Now, in terms of durability, this phone is mostly composed out of plastic, which I don't mind because you don't have to worry about a glass back breaking or anything like that. And I really do like the fact that Samsung included an IP67 rating, meaning that you can submerge this phone underwater. So if you're one who likes to go to the pool or the beach a lot, you don't have to worry about this phone being damaged by the water. Flipping this device around, you do have a 6.5-inch 1080p AMOLED panel that does have a 120 Hz refresh rate. This is absolutely amazing to see on a mid-range device. Kudos to Samsung for including it on such an affordable device. In fact, you don't even get this on flagship devices like the iPhones. So once again, I am really happy to see this here. And when you look at the bezels, you don't get flagship bezels here, but this definitely works for how much you're paying for this device. As far as brightness, you do get just under 800 nits, which is plenty bright for anybody who's using this device outside on a hot sunny weather or maybe just on a cold day. Color accuracy is excellent, as expected with the Samsung display. You get deep blacks and you get really vibrant and very beautiful looking colors on this panel. You're also able to adjust the colors. If you don't like these vivid colors, you can go for more of a natural look, and you're able to also adjust the color temperature. Under that display is a fingerprint scanner. Again, I am so excited for what Samsung is doing with the A series. They are absolutely killing it with the A52 5G. Having a fingerprint scanner under the display is super convenient. Don't get me wrong now, it's not the fastest under display fingerprint scanner I've used, but it will get the job done, especially if you would prefer using this over the face unlock that is also available. Now let's finally talk about those specs. As you guys know, in my personal opinion, numbers are not everything. It comes down to real life performance. But anyway, for those of you guys who do care about the specs, this is rocking a Snapdragon 750G. You can get this device in either 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, and I'm pretty sure if you get the regular A52 model, you can get in also 4 gigs of RAM. This does have expandable storage. I'm pretty sure it does come with either 128 gigs or 256 of internal storage and can be expanded up with a micro SD card. Now, in terms of day-to-day tasks, this literally flies through a ton of different things. Whether you're multitasking, watching movies, listening to music, and even gaming, you're not gonna have any issues with this device. I played a ton of racing games on this phone, and it literally had no issues. And having that 120 Hz refresh rate made everything feel much smoother. As far as the software experience, One UI is pretty close to the stock Android experience with Samsung's touch on it. It's pretty amazing to see how far Samsung has come in terms of their software experience. I remember back in the days when I was rocking TouchWiz with my Galaxy S3, and after a year or two of using that device, it got super slow because TouchWiz had a bunch of unnecessary features. Even though I really love TouchWiz, the only thing I really disliked about it is the fact that it got slow really fast after you started downloading a bunch of applications. But that's not the case anymore with One UI. Pretty close to stock Android experience. Whether you're multitasking, navigating the app drawer, or the settings menu, you are going to notice how smooth One UI is. Okay, let's finally talk about those cameras. The star of the show is Samsung opting for a higher res 64 megapixel main camera instead of a 48 megapixel one that we saw last year. This one has a fairly bright aperture at f1.8 and an ultra wide unit which also has a higher res sensor at 12 megapixel, offering an aperture of f2.2 instead of the 8 megapixel one we saw last year. The same goes for the dedicated macro and depth sensors, which are 5 megapixels and offer an aperture of f2.4 instead of the popular 2 megapixel units that we see with other mid-range devices. Along with this, there's a selfie camera with a 32 megapixel sensor and an f2.2 aperture, which is located in the top center of the screen and a hole punch style cutout. There's a ton of modes built in on the camera application. Just recently we got this fun mode that allows you to use snap filters straight on the camera app. Portrait mode works pretty well, and night mode does a good job with low light photos, and pro mode is available for both photos and videos. I did an in-depth camera review on the A52 camera, so if you guys want to see more of a detailed review, check the link down in the description or click a card that should pop up on one of these corners. When it comes to a cell phone purchasing decision, battery life is definitely one of the most important things. This phone is rocking a 4500 milliamp battery. I have to say, as far as my personal usage, using social media, streaming some content on YouTube and Netflix and sometimes Hulu, multitasking here and there, playing a little bit of games, I was able to run through a full day of usage with about like 20% of battery left at the end of the day. Now with very, very light usage, I'm talking about just texting people back on social media here and there, it can last me just about 2 days of usage, which is pretty impressive. But I'd say for most people, expect a full day of usage with heavy gaming, heavy music listening, and heavy internet browsing. It's pretty clear why Samsung is quickly dominating the mid-range and budget market with their A series of devices. The A52 is an affordable device with a ton of features for anyone on the market for a mid-range smartphone. My name is Victor Kamanga. Thank you again for watching. I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. Bye.